The Brony Adventures 5, Chapter 2, A Lost Hero. Draconic slides out of the hole with Thunderstorm's body. He sets Thunderstorm down. Ratchet says, "We got to find one of Thunderstorm's spell books. It has a spell that will work to bring him back." Draconic says, "Really?" Ratchet says, "Yep." Deadhoof says, "I'll look after him. You two go look." Draconic says, "Thank you." Deadhoof says, "No problem." Underneath Thunderstorm's castle, Draconic says, "Where do we even begin to look?" Ratchet says, "I built this little X-ray machine that can see through walls. I never thought I'd need it. Who knew?" Draconic says, "There's 1,000 tunnels down here." Ratchet says, "Better get started." Above Thunderstorm's castle, the main six run, and the cutie mark Crusaders run up to Dr. Hooves. Scooter screams, "Daddy!" Dr. Hooves says, "Stop." Dash says, "No." Tears run down her cheeks. Tears appear in all their eyes. Twilight says, "What happened?" Dodo sighs and says, "She stabbed through his chest with her wing." Scootaloo screams, "Daddy!" Dodo says, "Scootaloo, no!" She runs up to Thunderstorm's body and says, "Daddy! Daddy, wake up!" She shakes him. Twilight says, "Can we bring him back?" Dodo says, "I don't know. There's one spell that Ratchet and Quinix are looking for right now, but I don't even know if that will work. I'm sorry. He may truly be lost this time." Twilight lowers her head and closes her eyes tight, tears pouring out, and says, "No." Scootaloo says, "Wake up." Tears run down her cheeks. "Daddy, please." She nuzzles him and says, "Wake up." Dash walks up to Thunderstorm's body. She kisses him. Magic sweeps over his body, but nothing happens. She falls to her knees and buries her face into his stomach, crying. Scootaloo wraps Thunderstorm's wing around her and says, "It's so cold. Daddy." She starts crying. Forsyth falls to her knees, crying. Abjad throws her hat on the ground and says, "It ain't fair. Why does he have to die?" She starts crying. Pinpo's mane flattens. She stares at the ground quietly. Rarity walks up with Soul Silver. She freezes, looking at Thunderstorm's body, and says, "No." She runs to him. Soul Silver says, "Thunderstorm, no." Rarity says, "No, no." Tears run down her cheeks. She nuzzles him and says, "He's so cold." She breaks down crying and hugs him. Nova walks up beside Dr. Hooves and says, "It's amazing how one pony can have the heart and bravery of 1,000. Dr. Hooves says, "It's not amazing. It's a miracle." But Dawn says, "The grass and trees are rotting." Nova says, "Equestria is dying." But Dawn says, "Couldn't it detach itself from Thunderstorm?" Dr. Hooves says, "It doesn't want to. It chose to connect itself to Thunderstorm when he was born. Now, Thunderstorm is more than a protector to it. He is a part of it." Noah says, "If Thunderstorm dies, Equestria dies." Adon says, "You mean he's Equestria's son?" Noah says, "As far as Equestria is concerned, he is." Ponies gather around, bowing their heads in respect, tears falling down their cheeks. Dr. Who says, "This is the end." Noah smiles and says, "The boy did good." Dr. Who says, "He did more than any pony could have asked for." Twilight opens her eyes and raises her head and says, "This can't be the end." Memories of Thunderstorm go through Twilight's head, and she says, "Thunderstorm." She falls to her knees crying. Draconic screams, "We found it!" Dr. Who says, "Use it now!" "Please let this work." Draconic runs up to Thunderstorm's body and says, "Rarity, Rainbow Dash, and Scootaloo, you need to move." They slowly rise and walk out of the way. Draconic levitates his spellbook and says, "The one that is gone, let him be shown, brought back here without fear." The wind picks up. Draconic's horn glows. The storm roars. Draconic says, "Bring him life, bright and clear. Renewed his ashes come together. His heart beats again. The storm roars, even louder. The wind howls. Dunsworm's wounds start to heal. Draconet says, to see his kin, let air once again run through his lungs. His eyes open and see. He is free, and once again, living. The storm roars, even louder. Dunsworm's wound is gone. The wind stops. The storm clears up. Red Dash says, did it work? Noah says, come on, boy. Wake up. Dunsworm's eyes very slowly open, and he says, why are you all staring at me? You act like you've seen a ghost. He smiles at them. Airpony hugs Thunderstorm. Rendash kisses him and says, I thought you were gone this time. Forever. Thunderstorm kisses her and says, I will never leave you, my shining angel. Rendash smiles. End of Chapter 2. Brony Adventures 5, Chapter 3, Rainbows. Thunderstorm stands up and says, hey, baby girl. Schooler says, hey, daddy. She jumps up on his back and says, you're warm again. Thunderstorm smiles and says, I know. Will you all stop staring at me? Twilight says, you were almost gone forever. Thunderstorm says, I'll never leave, Twilight. I promise. Rain and Lunar say, Dad never leaves any pony. Thunderstorm smiles at them. Then he walks to the hole and says, to hell, your soul crashes, your body to ashes. Project 7's body turns to ash. Thunderstorm says, bury her. Twilight's horn glows, dirt materializes over Project 7's ashes. Thunderstorm says, good. Dashy? Red Ash says, yes? Thunderstorm says, Project 7 kissed me. And Red Ash says, what? Did you enjoy it? Thunderstorm says, of course not. Her lips were cold. She's an android. Red Ash says, Thunderstorm? Thunderstorm says, I didn't enjoy it. All I felt was shocked. The only mare I enjoy kissing is you, Dashy. Red Ash smiles and says, good. Twilight says, why did she kiss you? Thunderstorm says, she said it was a goodbye present. Twilight says, weird. Ratchet? Could she feel? Red says, yes. I gave her emotions. Twilight says, she might have been attracted to you, Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm says, that demon liked me? Twilight says, she was probably attracted to you because of your power. Thunderstorm says, my power, good, not evil. Twilight says, it can be used for both. All power can. Red says, you're more between good and evil than any pony else. The battle that goes on inside you is worse than any war. You're a line keeper. Thunderstorm says, what? Red says, a line keeper. The thin line between good and evil. There are a group of ponies called the Line Keepers. They are like you, between good and evil. Your job is to keep that thin line intact. If it broke, evil and good would encounter a war that would destroy all universes. Thunderstorm says, wow. So I'm a Line Keeper. What am I supposed to do exactly? Thunderstorm says, what you been doing? A rainbow shines across the sky. Red Ash says, how is there a rainbow in the sky without the Rainbow Factory? Thunderstorm backs away. Noah says, what have you done? Toto says, so many ponies were miserable without rainbows, so I brought the Rainbow Factory back. It's why some ponies have reported missing fillies and colts. Red Ash says, how could you? Thunderstorm says, I had no choice. Her pony was so sad. Twilight says, you were the blood of countless fillies and colts. Thunderstorm says, I know. Look, it was either let Equestria fall into a depression or bring the factory back. Don't worry, Dashy. Star and Screwloo are safe. So is Jewel. Any pony who is my friend or family that has a filly or colt will be safe. I promise you. Twilight says, you're the manager, aren't you? Thunderstorm says, I may have rebuilt it, but I had to do a lot to become manager, Twilight. I won't throw it away. I've heard a lot of fillies and colts beg for their lives and cry. Their bones breaking as their bodies were twisted and their bodies falling into the machine. Dinosaur laughs and says, the life drained from their eyes. Hope believes them when they realize it's all over. He laughs again. Twilight says, what's wrong with him? Noah says, a pure soul like Thunderstorm, forced to hear and see those things. He can't cope with it. He's going insane. Thunderstorm says, thank you, old man. I'll be right back. I got an appointment. He laughs again as he walks away. A piece of the ground opens. Thunderstorm dives down it. The hole closes. Scooter says, I'm scared. Remember Dash says, don't worry, he never hurt you. 1 hour later, Thunderstorm comes out of the hole. Rarity says, oh, Celestia. She puts her hooves over her mouth. Twilight, tears appear in Twilight's and Remember Dash's eyes. Thunderstorm says, what's wrong? It's only blood. Daredevil says, this is one of the downsides of being a linekeeper. You're never far away from being evil or good. Twilight says, I can see the insanity in his eyes. Noah says, he's not going yet. Not completely, anyway. Schooler says, Daddy? Thunderstorm says, yes, my sweet little rainbow. Schooler says, ah! Thunderstorm laughs. Remember Dash says, hug him. Schooler says, I'm scared. That's not Daddy. Remember Dash says, it is. Hug him. Schooler says, oh, okay. She was up to Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm says, if it isn't a nice little rainbow. Skilly hugs him and says, I love you, Daddy. Thunderstorm says, but, baby girl, what happened? I called you a rainbow. I'm so sorry. Skilly says, it's okay, Daddy. Thunderstorm smiles and says, I love you too, my little girl. Remember Dash walks up to Thunderstorm and says, I never want you down there again. Thunderstorm says, ah! Understood. Ow. But who will run it? Ratchet says, I will. Thunderstorm says, okay, you're already crazy. Ratchet smiles and says, thank you. Thunderstorm closes his eyes. Ophelia screams. Her bones break as her body is twisted. Life drains out of her eyes. Thunderstorm's eyes shoot open and he says, ah! The ground spins. Dash says, Thunderstorm? He falls over. Dash says, Thunderstorm! What's wrong? Daredevil says, his sanity is fighting the memories to try to stay intact. Dash says, no. He told me about a story on Earth. This should be me, not him. But Dawn says, the hero of light comes all that is right. With the Dark King comes chaos and anguish. Looks like to me the Dark King is on his way. Dash says, no! Noah says, but Dawn, shut up. The hero of light is still here. He's just fighting the Dark King right now. We will help our hero win. Twilight says, how? Noah says, the 4 elements of light. Love, kindness, nobleness, and loyalty. Remember Dash, you are the love. Remember Dash blushes. Noah says, Fluttershy, you are the kindness. Applejack, you are the nobleness. Applejack says, ah, shucks. Noah says, and Twilight, you are the loyalty. Twilight says, me? Noah says, you'd never give up on Thunderstorm or thought he was evil. No matter what he did, you are loyalty in this case. Twilight says, thank you. Noah says, we must work quickly. You all need to put a hoof on Thunderstorm and send in what you have. Love, kindness, nobleness, and loyalty. They all nod and walk up to Thunderstorm. They put a hoof on him and close their eyes. Their eyes open, glowing white. What they have swirls around their hoof and goes into Thunderstorm. Red Hoof says, fascinating. Noah says, the boy ain't the only one with secret talents. Red Hoof says, how do you know these things? Noah says, a old stallion never reveals his secrets. But Dawn thinks the old stallion is hiding something. He may be more dangerous than I thought. back to reality. Thunderstorm screams. Dragonet says, they're hurting him. Noah says, no, it's working. That's the Dark King crying out in pain. He is dying. The hero of light is coming back to us. Dash's Fluttershy's, Owljack's, and Twilight's eyes stop glowing white. They fall to their knees. Twilight says, did it work? Thunderstorm slowly opens his eyes and says, I'm fine. He hugs Dash and says, thank you. I couldn't escape. I couldn't find my way back. Thank you all. Dash says, You're welcome. They cuddle into each other and go to sleep. Twilight says, I'm pretty tired now too. She falls asleep. Fluttershy and Owljack fall asleep too. Scootaloo runs up to Thunderstorm and nuzzles him. His wings wrap around her. She smiles and goes to sleep. Dodo says, let's go. Our work is done. Noah nods and they walk away. Dawn says, I'll stay here. I want to be the king's apprentice. Noah says, okay. Be safe, Black Dawn. But Dawn says, back at you. End of chapter 3. The Brony Adventures 5, chapter 4. He's my son. The next day, Rainbow Dash and Thunderstorm open their eyes. Rainbow Dash says, are you alright? Thunderstorm smiles and says, I'm okay. Are you? I'm sorry I made you so worried. Rainbow Dash smiles and says, I'm okay. They kiss. Thunderstorm says, I love you, Dashy. Rainbow Dash says, I love you too, Thunderstorm. They smile at each other. Bean Pie, Fluttershy, Rarity, Owljack, and Twilight say, aww. Thunderstorm and Rainbow Dash blush. Thunderstorm says, I didn't know y'all were awake or watching. Rarity says, oh, don't be embarrassed. You're both in love. Rainbow Dash says, I've never seen Rainbow so open before. Rainbow Dash blushes even redder. Thunderstorm nuzzles her and says, I think y'all have embarrassed her enough. Rainbow Dash stands up and says, I'm not embarrassed. Thunderstorm! Get your tongue out of there! Thunderstorm stands up below her, putting her on his back and says, sorry, I couldn't resist when you stood up. Rainbow Dash blushes blood red and says, I come, didn't I? Thunderstorm licks his lips and says, yep. Come on, I'll get you back to the room. Rainbow Dash says, don't y'all break the bed. Thunderstorm blushes and says, oh, okay, AJ. He enters the castle with Rainbow Dash on his back. Twilight says, well, that was a little disgusting. Rarity says, oh, IGT hasn't done that to you. Twilight blushes and says, no, not in public. Rarity says, he's in love. He can't help not being able to resist her. So Sarah says, like, I can't resist you. Rarity smiles and they kiss. Owljack says, don't you two lovers want to go make up? Rarity blushes. So Silver says, we did on the way back. Owljack says, oh. Beanbot says, where's Fluttershy? Scootaloo says, Dragonet says something about taking her back to the castle to wrestle or something. Twilight says, Scootaloo! Did you see what your dad did to your mother? Scootaloo says, no. What'd he do? Twilight says, he carried her off back to the room to wrestle. Scootaloo says, why ain't your pony obsessed with wrestling? Owljack says, you'll learn when you're older. Scootaloo says, huh? Okay. 5 hours later, Thunderstorm walks out of the castle. Rain walks up to him and says, Daddy, do you love me as much as you do Scootaloo? Thunderstorm says, of course, you know I love you, my Little angel, you're like a shining star, so beautiful you are. My baby girl, just thinking of you makes me smile. Looking into your eyes, nothing can compare. I love you, my little angel. You're so innocent, so wonderful and pure. You know I love you, my little angel. He puts his head against hers and says, I always will. You are a miracle, a gift from above. You brought joy to my soul and pleasure to my eyes. My heart, I can feel it, an unexplainable feeling. Being a father, the best thing I could ever ask for. You and your sister matter more to me than anything. Your brothers too. I love you all, my little angel. Tears run down Rain's cheeks, and she says, Daddy. Notorn sits down and says, Come here. She hugs him, burying her face into his chest, crying. Notorn hugs her back and wraps both wings around her, and smiles and kisses her on her forehead and says, You know I love you, baby girl, with all my heart. Rain says, Daddy, I love you too. She goes back to crying. Notorn smiles even wider and says, I know. Draconix walks up and says, What happened? Dunsmore says, She's just happy and loved. Draconix says, Oh, anyway, Fluttershy is pregnant. Dunsmore says, She is? Wonderful. Congratulations. I want to throw you to a party to celebrate and no paying me back. That's not why I do things for ponies. Draconix says, I know. We won't. Thank you. Dunsmore says, Happy to. For our brother. Draconix smiles and walks away. Up his pony walks up with other ponies and says, Which one is yours? And I know one is because they all started running to your castle when they saw me coming. They were smoking and drinking something. Dunsmore says, Is that right? He lets go of Rain and stands up and walks over to Lunar. He looks him in both eyes and says, He's mine. This one. Got a wilder side and then some. It's no shock what he's done. He's every last bit of his old stallion's son. And if you knew me then, there'd be no question in your mind. He's mine. Lunar slowly walks behind Dunsworm with his head down. Dunsworm says, We'll talk later. The police pony says, I'm surprised you admitted that he's yours. Dunsworm says, I'll take the blame and claim him every time. He's always been the best thing that ever happened to me. Can't turn it off like electricity. I love him unconditionally. I'll take the blame and claim him every time. He's my son. He always will be. Lunar smiles. The police pony smiles and says, Have a good day, King Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm says, You too, officer. He turns to Lunar and says, You smoke and drink? Boy, I'm gonna kill you. Lunar says, Go ahead, Dad. I know I deserve it. Thunderstorm says, You bet you do. What would Winter say or do? Lunar says, She yelled at me and then slapped me. Thunderstorm says, What the hell got into your head? You're a full-grown stallion and you go out and do that? You have a daughter to take care of. What the hell were you thinking? Lunar says, I just wanted to have some fun. Get away from reality for a bit. Thunderstorm says, Well, you can get away from reality in your room. You're more grounded than the ground we're standing on. Lunar says, You can't ground me, Dad. I'm full grown. Thunderstorm's eyes glow red, and he says, Can't I? Lunar says, Okay, I'm going. Thunderstorm says, March! They walk into the castle. Rain laughs and says, This is Daddy's kingdom. You don't tell him what he can and can't do. She falls on her back laughing. End of chapter 4. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.